Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Main Assembly. I've been busy quite a bit, so I haven't gotten the chance to get a video out, but as you can tell, my bot part unlocked screen here is going absolutely nuts. And why is that? Because Main Assembly has come out with yet another content update. And this time, this one is huge. As you can tell, we have a lot of new things. So we're going to have quite a few things to look at today. So let's hop to it. Okay guys, so here we are in the normal Sandbox world. And I'm going to be testing a few things out. Hopefully we can see what else is new. A little Java update screen there. Looks like I have to remap some of my controls, so I'll be right back. Okay, so right off the bat, just looking around here, I've noticed like maybe one or two things that's changed around here. Like for example, the little heading bar at the top, I guess you could call it the compass bar. It has a new look. And in case you guys want to see more progress being done on this, I'm doing a little mini series on this. This is the Avengers Helicarrier. I'll leave that to a different video though. Anyway guys, let's see what else is new. So before we hop into the meat of this episode, I'll just say right off the bat, this is going to be the little test bed that we're going to be using to plop everything on, just to see how it all works out. And forgive me if I rush, because there's quite a lot of stuff to get through today. There's at least 40 new parts, and there's been quite a bit of tweaks too, to the actual existing in-game things. So let's get on with it. So first thing, we have new motors. In addition to the normal drive motors, we have what's now called compact drive motors, which are basically the same thing, but they're just a little bit smaller. So this is a small, I should probably pull out a small one, just for comparison. They call them compact, but they don't seem... I wonder if these things have just more torque or something? I mean, these are a little bit smaller than the drive motors, the standard ones. According to this one, it doesn't seem like it's by much. Let me grab a large. Oh yeah, I can already, oh yep. Okay, so for this one, these are very compact when you upscale them. So like for example, these large ones, these are both large, but you can see this one's a lot smaller, which is actually pretty nice. So, next thing, we have a lot of new wheels. So in the tiny wheels, before all we had was this caster ball, and we had this airplane wheel. But now we also have wide off-road, and we have spiked. So this will help you with grip on off-road, and this will help you on ice. And then same thing for the small. These three have been here before. We gain these two. And the medium, and the large, and the extra large, we also gained an SUV wheel, which is pretty nice. And then we have the spiked wheel again. Wait, what's the difference between the SUV wheel and the... where's that race one? Yeah, road large. Okay, so one is grippier on the road, and this one is grippier a lot more places, so it seems. And then for extra large, we now have a large airplane wheel. Next up, we have thrust. So before, it used to be just plain propellers in here and jet engines and boosters, but now they are split into categories. So for the powered, that's your RCS, your jet, and your booster. Your bi-propellers are what we had before for thrust, where you have these classical propellers, but then we have an extra large size too. So that's pretty nice. And then we have tri-propellers, which have 3 blades instead of 2, and these have 4, of course, bi-tri-quad. And then, so these come in small, medium, large, extra large, and, whoops, same thing with the, same thing with the quads, where they look more like airplane propellers. I can't really put it down anywhere, it seems, but okay. So these are pretty nice. And next up is chassis. Nothing has really changed here, from what I see. So, mechanical. Now they're split into categories. You have unpowered, which are just your springs, U-joints, and your bearings. And for your springs, we actually have different sizes now, which is really nice, because before you're kind of stuck with a really giant size that would be hard to cram into smaller builds. But now we have these small ones, which probably help quite a bit. And the smallest one Oh wow, that's tiny. So this is definitely going to help for like your really small builds. Ooh, this is cool. And then next we have our attachments, which in addition to the normal attachment point, we have a mini one. So you have your standard, you have your smaller one, which is, wow, that's really small. And then we have this interesting one here, detachable. So what this is it behaves like this guy right here. Actually, let me turn off mirroring so we can actually see that. Let's get rid of this. So what this does is it behaves like this attachment point here, but you can release it when you push a button. Whichever button that is what you determine in the programming. And it allows you to do some really interesting things. This has got to be one of my most favorite features of the game right now, because before this wasn't easily doable, or doable at all. You can probably see where this is going already. But basically it allows you to make RC cars. So if I detach the block that I'm sitting on, I can still control this car from my seat, which is really cool. So I can just drive around, I can do different things, and I put a camera on there so we can actually see what the car is seeing. And if I find myself, yeah, here we are. Whoa! I ran straight into myself. Well, there's me. Pretty sick. Alright, so next up we're going to be looking in the powered zone. And all that really changed here is we have smaller variants of what already existed before. So we have your normal size servos, your normal size hinges, and your normal size pistons. So I'm going to rotate this guy up out of the way. But now we have smaller variants of each. So we have this small hinge, we have a small servo. Oh, that thing's cute. And we have a small piston. Also really cute. So those are the smaller versions of what we have now. Pretty awesome. These will definitely help with your really tiny builds, especially when you can't really fit these guys on there too well. So next up, we have our electronics. Not much has changed here, except now we have the GPS and altitude sensor, so it actually gives off its location. And how we can use that, I'm not entirely sure. We could probably use it to make better AI, which would be really interesting. So we can set our reference positions, we can clear that, we can give our position. So maybe you could use this to actually make a robot that goes somewhere and then returns to its spot. That'd be pretty cool. So and then also gives off its bearing, which is where it's heading, and its elevation or its height. So that's pretty cool. And then up next, we have our controllers. Nothing as much has changed here, except for the docking stations. You can now use multiple docking stations. Oh yeah, I put that one there. I forgot about that. So you can now have these different docking stations do different things. So if you have multiplayer, and you have more than one person in the world, you can actually drive the same creation. And you can do completely separate things. So like for example, what you guys probably saw in that demo, there was a tank. So one guy controls the driving and one guy controls the turret. Pretty cool. And then next up, for camera, we have some new settings for the camera. Basically, it gives off where the camera is looking. So in theory, you could use this to make a 360 camera if you were to pair it with multiple other cameras, which would be really interesting. And then next up, our speaker. Nothing really changed there, I don't think. So if we look at our speaker menu, it's just play, volume, and pitch. Nothing really changed there. That's cool. And for lights, we have a ton of new lights. So what we used to have were these rotating beacons, these lamps, and these bar lights. Yeah. But now and also I forgot to mention the trail makers, which basically makes a little trail. So in addition to these guys, we also have a bunch more headlights, we have more tail lights, and oh boy, we do have a lot more kind of lights. We have more indicators, we have our LEDs, this has also been a thing. And then we also have this 7-segment display, which actually displays numbers. So if I delete all of that, If I go to the programming menu and I select the display, I can pick a value for it. And let's say we want to display 7. Oh, I don't know. We could do 5, or yeah, like I said, 7. Should show up as a 5. Yep, there we go. So next up, we're checking our miscellaneous, which is just our cockpits. Nothing really new here. Our weights, no, of course. Googly eyes. Tools haven't really changed. Our weapons have, actually. There used to be this really weird game-breaking glitch with saw blades where you can sit on one. You could put them on your bot. You could sit on them. And then it would kind of glitch you into the center of that mountain over there for some reason until you got out of the bot again. But now it doesn't quite seem to happen, so I think they fixed that. And then you can finally change the color of axes. I don't know if this was a thing before, but I've never really tried it. But I'm pretty sure now you can color all of these. It's like even the drill, it has its own little thing to color now, because it's white, it's yellow. So if I wanted to paint it, I could paint it different colors, really cool. It actually looks pretty sweet. I know I didn't cover everything that's new in this update, but that's a pretty good chunk, I think, of what's been introduced into the game. But otherwise, if you guys want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give the video a like while you're at it, and comment down below on what you guys want to see for future videos. So, until next time, goodbye!